looking for work for that by.
Let's do it. Let's call this thing to
We're
order.
recording.
Hey,
Nice background, Jeff.
Thanks.
you're so festive. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
All right.
Hi.
Hi. All right.
Do
Who?
you need this again? What are you?
I've got
Okay,
it.
I
I've got
thought
it.
you were
Thank
looking.
you. This is my
Oh, okay.
my
Sorry.
checklist.
I'll be quiet over here now.
You're wonderfully helpful. Thank you. All right. Has anybody had a minute to read the minutes? And if so, or if you want to scan those now, and then we'll just need a motion to approve.
Yeah, motion to approve.
Second.
Thanks, Chad. Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Great stuff. Okay, Todd, do we have any, well, we have no visitors, but are there any other emails or any notes?
Nope.
Great. Okay, then we're cruising right along here to Mr. Dave Buck. Yes,
Do we have this?
this is Dave Buck,
Okay,
and he's
great.
on our
He's
agenda
on the
today.
agenda.
Yeah.
Got it.
Dave, let's chat about Webster on Wheels. And do you want to?
Here, Dave, why don't you take this seat?
Oh, here.
Well, his back will be to them. You take
Oh,
my
okay.
chair and I'll go to the back row for a little while.
Okay.
Thank you. Dave, thanks so much for being here. You want to,
Well, thanks for the opportunity, and
Yeah.
I have a handout.
look at you, so organized.
There's something
Thanks.
that you can, for what it's worth.
So Dave, a couple more Great. You want to introduce yourself a little bit and then let's talk about Webster on Wheels.
My family and I have lived here for 20 years, 124 South Elm, just 9 houses down from City Hall. And I'm just a resident. I'm nobody special. But I like to try to get involved with the community in different ways and events like this. So let's just talk about Webster on Wheels.
Yeah,
Webster on Wheels was born in May of 2009. It was created by the Cub Scout pack and the Girl Scout troop at Bristol Elementary School. And it was set up as a fundraiser. And we were looking for fundraising ideas. And we said, well, what do kids like to do? And one of the things they like to ride bikes. And in Webster Groves, as you know, we have a lot of runs, like the Ivor Crockett Run, Jim Shamer Run, Santa Fe Blues, etc., Turkey Day Run. We have a lot of runs. But the city never had a organized bike event, if you will. And so what Webster on Wheels is, it's a non-competitive, it's not a race, it's a leisurely, go at your own speed for people of all ages and all cycling abilities. And it's really just meant to spend the Sunday afternoon together at the community riding bikes. And again, Webster on Wheels started in May of 2009. Our home base was Bristol Elementary School. And if you look on the back page, which made the adventure through and bike lanes and things like this. The B is Bristol, and just I'll just go over the route really quick. It's a 5-mile route, and it's the same route we've used every year, and the police are all into it and stuff. But we go south on Gray to Baker, turn right on Baker, cross Rock Hill Road, hit Sherwood, goes into Lockwood. When we're on Lockwood, a long way, past Gore, past Elm, to the library, where we turn left on Orchard. We go into Webster Park, we come out, and then we turn on Selma, actually, by the high school, hit Swan back across Elm to Gore, and then Gore back up to the back of Bristol. It's exactly a 5-mile route. I think what's important is that We don't block any streets. Our people ride with traffic. We have two police officers that also come every year and give like a safety talk about, obey the traffic signs. They have to obey all the traffic lights and signs. And we've never had any accidents, in so many years. The event was put on at Bristol by the Cub Scouts from 2009 to 2014. Then the Cub Scouts kind of lost interest. The event did not happen in 2015, so then I took it to the Webster Groves School District Foundation and said, would you like to pick it up as a spring fundraiser, because they do the run, the Ivy Private Run in the fall. And they said yes, and so for the last 4 years, they have kind of been, the key organization behind WOW, or Webster on Wheels. But our other big partner is the Hub. They've been our partner from the very beginning. We could not do WOW without the Hub, and they're really indispensable. When we first did it, we attracted, I think, about 150 riders. At our peak, we hit 450 for several years. But the last 2 years, we haven't done it because of COVID. The foundation didn't want to go forward with it, so we haven't done it for 2 years. The foundation is now getting big heavy duty into fundraising, and so they don't want to do the event anymore. So I took it back. I said, I'll take it back. And so we are going to bring WOW back again. We always do the first Sunday in May, which this year will be Sunday, May the 1st, and we're going to bring it back for the first time in 2 years. We think like the Ivy Crockett Run, which set all sorts of records for participation this year because of pent-up demand, because a lot of the runs have been canceled. We're looking for a big crowd. But the other thing that you should know from a bike riding standpoint is that we have always charged for entry, like $10 a person, $35 a family, because it's a fundraiser. This year, we're going to eliminate all that. This year, for the first time, this is the free event, and free, and it's open to anybody. And so hopefully that will help encourage people to come out. And it's an outdoor event. Who knows where Omicron and COVID would be by then. But the point is, it's an outdoor event. They're riding, people are spread out, and so we feel pretty good that we'll be on safe ground. And a bunch of us are also involved in Porch Fest, and where Jazz Fest was canceled for 2 years, Porch Fest went on because people are all spread out across the neighborhood, and nobody ever got sick, from Porch Fest. And so we feel really good about this. So yeah, so I'm really, obviously, with bike riding, I'm really interested in, I don't know all the details about where you guys are on bike lanes and stuff. Obviously, other communities have it, put them in, and I think it's a great idea. If we can help you in any way, or be a part of it, or support what you're doing in that regard, we'd be happy to. But again, I think the important thing is that our riders, again, we don't block streets. Our riders ride with traffic, just like every day. And they obey the stop signs, and they ride safely. And so if they're bike lanes, that'd be great. We would love bike lanes.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the event. It's pretty simple. Not hard.
I think it's great. And I think, as we've been talking about getting bike lanes marked, and trying to, I've been just thinking like, oh, that's a big deal for us to be doing that in our city, and it's making a statement of our values. And I was like, oh, we should do something for that. And then this came up. I think Laura mentioned that you were going to bring it back. And so I think it's a natural collaboration. And what my one concern is the timing on the bike lane
Mhm.
striping. Is that feasible?
Yeah, it should be done before May 1st.
Okay,
I'm thinking April.
okay. And
Just
that,
so you know, Dave, we're gonna be striping the Lockwood.
Yeah.
We're gonna eliminate the outside lanes and make them bike lanes.
Oh, really?
So 4 lanes will be 2.
Okay,
yeah, between Barry and,
And then in the downtown district, it's just gonna be share the road.
Yeah.
All the way out to Big Bend, and then we're gonna have our north-south is gonna be on Bond Park.
okay. Oh, terrific. Oh, yeah, I mean, I know you're not gonna stripe every street, you know.
No.
Most of it.
yeah.
But I think the main ones, and so, yeah, I mean, we travel on some of those, and so it would be great.
Yeah, so it's definitely a good way to get the message out, and work, you know, as a city and residential kind of effort here to encourage people that, you know, to get out on the bikes and let's make it safe and some motorist awareness and that sort of thing.
Well, it's a good little PR for us, because it's like, you know, you could be one of the first to ride the bike lane.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, I also think, Dave, if this is,
Yeah.
turns out to be sort of a jointly sponsored event,
Yeah.
I'm sure we can get Jenny Starkey to help promote it
Oh,
as
that'd be
well.
great, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, in fact, just so you know, I mean, on the promotion of events, is that the way we used to do it on, well, in fact, you know, we did T-shirts. I mean, we did T-shirts, we did yard signs, we spent so much money that we didn't have to spend. You know, I mean, every year we have another T-shirt and stuff, and yard signs and posters and stuff. And one of the things that I think I've learned in some of the other events I've been involved with, like Porch Fest, Peace Concert, for example, is that one of my goals in going into those events was that I didn't want to spend a penny. And the thing is, you can promote events and activities without spending any money. I mean, there's just too much free stuff that, and you got to keep pounding on it, but you don't have to spend any money. And so that's what we're do with Whoops Around Wheels. You know, we're going to put this on without spending a penny. And I don't think we'll have to, because people know the event, know the route, and we just want to get them out.
great. Well, I think, well, and I think what I would like to see for our commission is a couple of members step up to help in a planning capacity, or I'm not quite sure how to envision yet the partnership. But we also, because we've never done something like this before, wouldn't want to step on anybody's toes, but I think I think it would be beneficial if we were involved somehow, to be able to help, you know, lift this event up and make it successful. So when do you all plan to begin your meetings, if you haven't already
I
begun?
think January.
Okay.
And the other thing is that if you take time to like read this was our last event in 2019,
Mhm.
and it's fully loaded. I mean, what I mean is that there's stuff going on before the big ride. Second is the big ride. Third is after the ride. You know, we had stunt riders come in and bands and selling food. And I mean, it's a big thing. And I think this year, because we want to have it free, is that we're going to strip it down, because the real focus of it and what people really love is the ride. You know, it's a ride through really beautiful neighborhoods in Webster Groves. It's like a perfect link for kids, because our main audience are families with kids, normally elementary school kids. So you got kids that are like in first grade, second grade, even kindergarten, that are riding bikes or even tricycles sometimes. And they can take their time, but the feature is the ride, and we'll figure out something before and afterwards, but we're not gonna like spend a lot of money doing it, you know, the rides like that.
All right.
Yeah, and again, you know, if somebody can ride down Lockwood and be the first to ride in our new bike lanes, you know, I think that will be fun.
Inaugural ride.
Yeah, inaugural ride, yeah, break it in.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, great. Great. Well, Dave, this is really awesome. Thrilled that that we're able to connect with you and learn a little more about Webster on Wheels. And I'm really hopeful that we can be a partner with this and
Yeah. No,
figure out a
I'll-
way to make it work together.
I will let you know, and we will find a way.
Great.
No, in fact, in this, and I don't mean to be silly in sharing this, but see, I'm a big believer that, well, the word community is a combination of two words, commune plus unity. And it literally means to share together as one. Which says, it doesn't say spend together as one, it means to share together as one. I think if we can share, and don't worry, it's not about spending money, it's about sharing, that we'll figure it out. It'll be great. Yeah, we'd love for you to be part of it.
Awesome.
Can I ask, so the majority of our striping is actually going to be from Berry to Rock Hill, right?
Correct.
Does it jump Old Webster and start up again farther east on Lockwood?
No, there won't be any more striping.
Okay, so
It'll
if
be
we
it'll
were,
be share the road.
so if we were
I
gonna.
may be able to do some
Yeah.
striping on Bomb Park because it's quite wide.
Wider. So if we were gonna, if your route was going to take into consideration a new bike lanes, you'd be on maybe a slightly different route. I guess you're on a little bit of it here from Sherwood to Rock Hill, the old route.
So are you thinking they could go over to Bompard and come down?
No, I was
Oh,
just
okay.
curious whether the route would be the same this year or whether you would change it to try and ride on the bike lanes.
And I forget, when we say share the road, do you mean signs
Yeah,
or
signs.
sharrows that are on the road?
They're both.
Both, okay.
We'll have sharrows and we'll have the signage.
You know, we would be, on one hand, this has been like our, you know, the police
Yeah.
approved route for every year, and so we know we don't have to mess with it, but the police signed off on it.
Right.
But we're totally open based on where you're gonna, you know, put the lanes. I mean, maybe we make some changes and stuff, and we'll just meet with the police again. Yeah, and make a revision based on what you're doing. So we can cross that bridge, whatever you know.
The biggest part is gonna be the Lockwood section.
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Buried Rock Hill. Because we're eliminating those outside lanes and those are not gonna be the bike lanes and a buffer in between them.
Well, and what's good for us is that, see, people are coming down Sherwood. And then they turn on Lockwood, which is the really busy street through all
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
And
it
they
is.
can turn in.
Right,
the bike
It'll be in a
lane.
bike lane, yep.
That would be great.
Yep.
That would be great.
It's also probably not a bad idea to get used to the share the road part of it too.
Mhm,
Because
Yeah,
that's an
Cycling.
educational component for
Mhm.
people who are on this road.
mhm.
It's more educational for the drivers.
Well,
That's
For
what
the
we
bike
that's what we
riders.
need to work on. Yeah, great. Okay, any other questions for Dave? Great, awesome.
thank you very much.
Yeah, Dave, we'll talk and can I have one more of those?
Oh, yeah. No, you
Please.
can have this.
Thank you, Brett.
No.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Dave, I did have one question. My name's Paul. So
Yes,
is the hub is committed to being
Yeah.
part of this again as well in Bike Works, and I saw it there on here as, you know, opportunity to.
yeah, I have not talked to Bicycle Works, and the reason is because we tried for several years to have people turn in their old bikes,
Mm,
and we just didn't get many. And so it did make a lot of sense for them to come out with a truck or a trailer or a van. We're thinking about it. But the hub has been our partner from day one. Yeah, they are totally in.
That's
And
great.
Ron is. Yeah, in fact, one of the things they do before the ride is that they provide free bike safety checks. They bring their guys and their stands over on the blacktop at Bristol. You can put your bike up for free and then check tires, brakes, all that stuff, helmets.
That's cool.
So it's very cool.
Really.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Dave,
you.
thanks so much. We'll talk in a few weeks then, because January will be here
Yeah.
before we know it.
Right around the corner.
Well, and if you haven't listened, Jamie was on what, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? She was on my radio show with Jackson No Tailing, talked about sustainability commitment, and you were great. You're awesome.
Thanks, Dave.
But I'll tell you, one of the things we talked about really quick is, because I think words matter. So for what it's worth, sustainability. See, I just wish it was a different word, because sustain means just keep even. You know, you don't change, you just hold even. That's sustain versus elevate, raise up, make better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was a different word.
We'll get to work on that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dave, thanks so much for joining us.
Get your bikes ready.
Go ahead.
Appreciate your time.
No, I insist, please.
Okay. All right, so do we see that like as a, am I, I'm not
It
crazy
makes
here
sense to me.
to pull this together, like,
It's a
I,
sustainability thing, yeah.
yeah, I think it would be a really awesome way to, like, figure out how to loop the city, city into doing some real great neighborhood things, outreach or whatever. I'm not sure how we can add value yet, but, would like one or two of you be interested? Paul, I think it's, I'm gonna,
I think
did you have
I'm gonna
bikes
do
on your
it.
mask
Yeah,
today?
That's
Yes.
right.
So be kind of the point person. Did you say two on that? Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry for my failed memory. All right, that's great. So, because I always think that January is this magical land of a lot of time. So I'm like, great,
As long-
January.
As long as we don't have snow, it'll be fine.
I know, for you, you don't want snow. I want snow. Okay, so we're good there, everybody? Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. I think this will be really a fun way to interact with our community. Okay, Jeff, thanks so much for getting all of the lighting going, the Christmas light recycling efforts.
Didn't do too much.
It's starting to fill up.
Everybody else did the work.
It's filling up though.
Is that right? I haven't done a
Awesome.
bin check, so glad it's going.
I check it every time I come here. Oh, there's more in there, all right.
Thanks. Thanks so much for doing that. Really appreciate that effort. Yeah, and I don't think we have much else. Is there anything you want to share about that, Jeff? Is there
No, I
any-
don't think so.
Okay, cool.
It's all good.
All right, Gribby, thanks. Okay, and then we talked about the bike program, Webster on Wheels, that's old business. Okay, new business for next year. I put that on there, goals for 2022. Because I always like to, I always like to think about the new year. It's super fresh start. I always get really excited about my resolutions. But I haven't put much thought other than the sustainability plan into what we might want to be focused on for next year. I think that's a big one. Does anybody have anything that they want to maybe talk about or think about for next year as an area of focus? And
we are.
yes, Todd.
Well, hopefully Ameren gets back to me soon so that we can look at maybe getting into the electric vehicles for the
Yes.
city, so.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
still
Have they
waiting on them
still
to-
not come back with our evaluation yet?
We are so far on the list. He's doing the huge cities first, like city of St. Louis and Chesterfield, and I'm like, really?
It was like 6 months ago.
Yes,
wasn't it, when they were
yeah.
on? Okay.
Yeah.
He's got all my data. It's just a matter of them to crunch the numbers. So.
Gosh, okay, yeah, that's a big one.
Mhm.
That would be really exciting for sure.
So I might add also
Yes, please.
that as we learn more about the infrastructure bill
Yes.
details, if there are things that we can take advantage of in terms of funding that's available,
Yes. Okay,
which EV is gonna be one of those, right?
yes. And stations, charging
Yeah,
stations.
that's,
Mhm.
that's more of my.
Yep. Okay,
I don't know if it needs to be said, but the bag program
Yes.
that's gonna come to fruition.
that's
Yep.
right, it is. And oh my gosh, you guys, we're gonna be able to hand them out at Webster on Wheels.
Yes, well, hopefully if they get them in. if we get 'em in.
Hopefully, yes. So Todd's, what is Lita's title?
She's the admin coordinator for the public works department.
Okay, she is incredibly like skilled at getting this. She's been able to take the bag program and like make it happen. Like kind of what Karen was doing for us before. But she's going to come to our January meeting to give us an update on where everything stands with the bag program. And she's done a remarkable job of giving it its own little flair, and ordered more bags because we didn't spend the money on tabling and the supplies for tabling, a tent and banners and such. So she was able to just slide that into.
Get more back.
Yeah. So it's gonna happen in 2022.
I would just add here, I'm
Yes.
gonna come forward here so
Yeah.
you don't have to turn around. You know, writing the sustainability plan is
Yes.
really, really important, but this commission is actually gonna be critical in whether or not it's adopted. So I would not count on just being finished when it's written, because it's gonna take some convincing of council members and some public education to make
Mhm.
sure things get done. And so as we think about or as you all think about the plan,
Mhm.
also might think about how that happens as well.
Mhm. About the plan, does, in timing wise, if we were trying, my goal was to get it in front of the current council. And so what would that look like for you all? Like, do you need a work session to
Yeah,
go
sure,
through
yeah.
it?
Maybe a
And
work session
We'll
first.
probably need more than one work session.
Okay.
Depending on how extensive it is. We may need multiple work sessions.
Okay,
And then we would need 2 council meetings to enact in portions of it that require an ordinance.
okay,
We have to do a reading and then a vote in a subsequent one. So, I mean, I gotta say, I think it's really ambitious
Mhm.
to try and do it before the election.
okay.
Because the other thing is, I don't know, Todd, what, is it once every other meeting or every third meeting? We have something that we didn't plan on doing in work session that comes up because
Yeah.
it just comes up. And so we're a little bit, we're not fully in control of the
Sure.
schedule.
Right.
So that would be the other thing.
Okay,
But when we get to that point, I can get it on in front of Dr. People so she can get it on the agenda.
okay.
The other kind of option for you all to think about, and I hope it's not inappropriate because it's political here, is that, the election season provides an opportunity for you all to educate the community about what's going on, as
Mhm.
well as to ask every candidate who's running for something where they stand on this or where they stand on certain provisions, so that they then can be held accountable
Yeah.
once they are elected to something. You think that was totally inappropriate?
With them.
It's a good point.
No, I think so too, yeah. And are we allowed to, as a commission, like,
You are residents of Webster Groves. You can
Yeah.
ask candidates anything you want to ask
Okay.
them.
perfect,
You as a commission cannot probably, as an active
Individually,
unit, but
right.
individually
Sure.
you can do that.
I think I just found the sustainability plan on the floor. Take a look at it. If you approve it, you've got my vote. Something like that.
something
Yeah,
loosely, I like it. Okay, and then as far as like our approach to the plan, we had our first meeting and we're trying to formulate categories that are logical for Webster. And I think that, wondering, I was thinking we zoom out and go kind of broad in our suggesting so that it can be, we can apply it to more than just like this, whatever narrow item in the plan, as it ages. I want it to age well.
So when you
what would
say
your-
zoom out, are you talking about then maybe goals and principles? Are you talking about programs?
I'm
What does that mean?
I'm less on programs and more on, here are some standards we would like to hit
Okay.
and maintain.
And my reflexive reaction as a council person, speaking only for myself, is how are we gonna know how we're meeting those and how we get to
Okay.
meet those,
Mhm.
right? So I can't think of a better term other than sort of putting the meat on the bones in
Mhm.
terms of meeting
Okay.
those goals
Mhm.
is probably not gonna be our forte as a council. Staff can, I think, help in some of that, but
And can this body?
yeah, and so that's the other way.
Introduce.
So it could be that you're thinking of sequential action, right?
Mhm.
One broad plan that
Mhm.
everyone commits to, and then maybe the council says, okay, go back and we want to hear your specific proposals on this part of the plan bring us something back and then we'll act on, is that kind of what you're thinking?
I'm
of,
thinking
or-
that, and then also, us being able to bring certain issues to council that are more specific, that might need to be considered. Like, Jeff, so Mitch, what's the thing that Richmond Heights just passed?
Oh, the EV Ready Ordinance.
Oh, the charging station thing?
Right, right. Well, it would require, I guess in Richmond Heights, they require all new residential, both single and multifamily, to be EV ready. It doesn't mean, chargers, but just wired so that you can easily install chargers. And that was my question while I sort of have the mic here was my impression was this plan was going to be more of a framework document versus a list of specific policies, like making new residential EV ready. So that's sort of one question I had was, can we pursue things before this, before the plan would go before council and get fully vetted, that we know we want to do, or is it better to wait until that happens?
It's an excellent question. The reason I'm hesitating again has to do with scheduling. I don't think there's any reason specific proposals couldn't come in advance, other than to say that if the plan itself, whatever it looks like, is passed, then council has more incentive to take the time to look at specific proposals, right? Because we have set these goals for our community and we now have an obligation to try and meet those. So that would be the reason for waiting until after. My concern about doing them sort of piecemeal is eventually people are going to get tired of not tired, that's a terrible way for me to put it. There's only so much agenda space, and the Sustainability Commission only gets a portion of that. And so you got to think about that in terms of moving things forward.
Right. Because I know we had talked about, and not to put the cart in front of the horse, but in terms of the sustainability plan, like one example might be, the overarching goal is to reduce vehicle miles traveled. And there's many ways to do that, or reduce tailpipe emissions in Webster Groves, whether it's no idling, promoting electric vehicles, or making charging infrastructure available, or promoting biking and walking. There's a lot of ways to sort of accomplish that goal, but the overarching goal of the plan would be to reduce emissions and reduce miles traveled.
So we have outcomes, right, that we
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
And then those are really the biggest things, right? And then we've got maybe general categories of ways to achieve them.
Yeah,
And then maybe or maybe not, like really specific suggestions about what those fleshing out those categories would look like.
in the plan.
I don't
specific
know.
suggestions.
I mean, my limited understanding of strategic plans is that you have all those levels, right?
Mhm.
And that's how you know, like you're saying, if you achieved it or not,
Okay.
yeah, so.
I think also remember that you all have a set of expertise that council doesn't have in this area. And so if some of the specifics, not that they have to be in the plan when it is adopted, but
Mhm.
sometime along the way,
Mhm.
that expertise has to be leveraged, because to be honest, the city staff works for the city manager. They don't work for us.
Mhm.
And so we really literally do most of our own research ourselves. And so we're not as well equipped probably to push some of this forward as you all are in terms of your background and experience.
The other thing, and this is just coming from the university, like my understanding is strategic plans are supposed to get updated or redone like pretty frequently, like every 5 years. So in terms of something that will age well, I'm not sure we need to worry
Okay.
about that if we're planning to kind of go with a schedule like that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, you can come back and update it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay, that's helpful. Okay, so Laura, do you want to share anything?
I have almost nothing to share with you because I assume everyone knows about Douglasville by now.
Yes.
And I have nothing to report about what happens next. We haven't really had that conversation yet.
Yeah.
And in terms of everything else, please remember that City Hall is closed 24th,
Thursday and Friday this
Thursday,
week.
Friday, and then Friday of next
Friday
week.
next.
Yeah, so if you have any business to conduct, do it around there. I'm sure I'm forgetting something important, but I don't know what that is.
Is there anything to discuss in terms of the Subaru site?
I know that there have been inquiries and discussions, but nothing that has gone far enough that we have heard specifics from the plant department.
So.
So there's interest in that site.
It's
yes.
left up to the private developers for that one, I would assume, right? They're just
Yeah.
gonna come to the city.
Is there still interest in the site across the street? Because I know there was something at the planning commission that kept being pushed back and back and back.
That fell through.
Yeah, I think that is now off the table.
And I would also assume that the stormwater issues that are in Shady Creek, that's just gonna be a city issue to fix.
We'll have to replace that culvert eventually.
Yeah.
That'll help, because that culvert's choking it down.
All right.
Just like the one in Elm that we're in process of replacing, that's choking, that's a choke down point too, so. Not as bad as the one at Gore.
So when you say choke down, you just mean it's not big enough.
Right, it's too small for what's flowing through there. The one at Elm is under design right now to get replaced, and it's going from a single culvert to a triple culvert.
So does that have any impact on how fast the water winds up in the creek?
Not how fast it goes through the creek.
Well, because, so we want it off the road, but like, if it goes into the creek faster, that has its own problems, right?
It can cause problems downstream,
Yeah.
and Brentwood's doing all their
Mhm.
floodplain work that's gonna help mitigate a lot. of it.
Okay, got it.
I heard a really scary report about storms, larger events, and people being like pulled into the water and through those, like, are those like people proof?
No, they're not people proof. They're not people proof, they're not animal proof, but you go in one side, you come out the other side.
God. Ooh. Okay.
Since nothing's being done with Shady Creek, it seems like that might be something for the Sustainability Commission to kind of keep a good tab on. It seems like Richmond Heights did all that floodplain restoration. Seems like that could be a good item for us to keep in mind.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I thanks for bringing that up. I do wonder.
And there is, again, council has not taken any formal position. I will just say in informal conversations I have had, there are some members of the council who have great interest in seeing what we can do about that. One of the things that will happen come the new year is that we will go into a survey mode with something called Balancing Act, which is a tool for allocating budgetary resources. And we're going to use it both for our city budget and we're going to use it for our federal relief funds. Stormwater is part of the federal relief fund, so I would strongly encourage you all to keep an eye out for that, and I'll let you know when it comes out to help us prioritize things, and certainly stormwater could be one of those priorities.
Are there other entities that'll help pay for fixing Shady Creek?
There's been some discussion of that, and there are a lot of ideas that have floated to my inbox, and Todd, you may know this better, but no source of income has been identified at this point, right?
MSD will not partner with us because they don't have any money. They
Okay.
don't have stormwater money because the
Okay.
voters have shut it down several times.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, some of the suggestions have been environmental groups that might have some money for us, and the question is how much money and how much of it
Exactly.
can be done. But it is something I think that come the new year we'll begin to explore.
We
I
should
guess,
check with that Wildlife's Habitat group, the one who's preserved all the floodplains in St. Charles, because they're backed by the Bush family. So they have a lot of money.
What is the name of it, Elizabeth? Do you
I'll
know?
have to look it back up, but they're the ones who lobbied for the floodplain rule in Missouri, and they spoke out against the building in Webster. So I'll look it up and I'll send it to you.
Oh,
But it's a bunch of like rich white old men. So if you're looking for an income source, they might be a good one to look for.
yeah, I'll look for it because I do remember that letter now that you've mentioned it. Yeah, I don't know, it's recorded, because the recordings could be on YouTube too, so.
Yeah, we're being recorded.
Is the city's issue to look at Shady Creek in terms of retaining more stormwater before it enters the creek?
Well, I mean, you've got all those existing businesses, so
Right.
you can't make them do anything unless they rebuild or add on or whatever, then you can put
Yeah.
stuff in.
Will the city, I mean, this is like looking into a really big crystal ball, but approve, there's some, apparently there are businesses who wanted to add on or improve or whatnot, and who have not been given permission to. Like, would that, if businesses back in that area start to seek
Yeah, if they
permits?
look to expand or whatever, that's where we can get stormwater involved into that.
Yeah, and that's part of the larger council discussion about what comes next,
Mhm.
because my understanding is that some of the zoning makes that challenging.
Yep.
And the fact that this area's been a target for development for so long.
Yeah.
Also means, why spend money on improvements if it may not mean much in the long
Right,
run? So
Right.
I hope within the next several months, it'll become more clear what direction things are going, but we haven't had that conversation, so I can't speak
Mhm.
to it.
Okay. Okay, interesting. Thanks, Laura. Todd, do you have any news or notes?
The only thing I can add is that the culvert at Elm and Kirkham, that we have it's almost 100% designed. We are now putting in an application, the East-West Gateway, who oversees the federal funds, to get funding to help offset the cost, because it's a $1.25 million project.
Mhm.
So if we could get 80% of that, $1 million, that would be a nice chunk. Plus, MSD reinstated the OMCI, operational maintenance construction something. But the taxing for each watershed boundary. And so that one, the Shady Creek boundary, has about almost $100,000, and we have 2 years of funds that we can use towards that
Mm.
culvert, because the city passed a thing that we want to oversee 50% of those taxing funds and use it to whatever we want to use it for. And MSD gets the other 50% to use what they need to use it for. So you can only use it in that watershed area.
Got it.
So
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff then. And when does, I mean.
So the
funding-
application is due in February 10th, and we have a meeting with East-West Gateway on January 14th,
Okay,
pre-submittal meeting, so.
okay.
But we did this, my engineers did the scoring, what it would score, and it scores very well, so we're pretty confident we're gonna get the money.
Don't be overconfident.
I know, I don't want to be overconfident, but our score is looking really good. So. Especially the condition rating of the bridge.
Yeah.
70 is your maximum score for condition rating, we get 65 out of 70, so it's like.
Should I take a sledgehammer? and
Yeah.
for a while?
I can put a couple holes in it. Well, the state MoDOT made us, they do annual or biannual inspections on all of our bridges. And that one, when they, last time they inspected it, they said they put a weight limit on it. So we had to post it for a tonnage weight limit. So, but it's like 25 tons. Most trucks that drive over are 25 tons.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
How long will it take to replace the culvert, do you think,
Once we get the funding and we go out for bid and we get a contract on, it'll probably take, I would say, 3 to 5 months. Because we're gonna try to keep one lane in each direction.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Do sections.
Okay.
So we'll probably kick traffic over to one side,
Mhm.
one lane in each direction, and do that half and then flip it over and do the other half.
Wow. It's a big year next year, Todd.
Hopefully we get that.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
All right, thanks for that. Okay, it looks like our next meeting is on a holiday.
Yes.
So,
Martin Luther King Day.
yeah, so let's scooch, if everyone's in favor of this, to January 24th. Does that work for everyone?
It's just the following week.
Yep.
That's fine.
And then I will work on a list of dates For our meeting dates, and just send that out to everybody so you can have it, and plug it in.
It's the third Monday of every month. so.
Yes. Pretty simple.
Yep.
Okay, anything else? Any? All right, the sustainability plan group, I don't know if you remember, but we're gonna hang out here for a little bit longer and try to get some of those items we discussed at our last meeting into categories. But that's it. That's all we have. So motion to adjourn.
I'll motion.
Second.
Thank you, everyone. And you've all been such good kids this year. I brought you a Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that part
Sorry,
of
Jeff and Elizabeth.
my update, which is thank you all for a
Yes.
great year.
Yeah,
I mean,
You
you all have
are.
worked very hard and are continuing to work very hard, and I'm grateful. And I think
Thanks,
probably the
Laura.
rest of the council is too, so I'll just say that on their behalf.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you. You all like are amazing. So pick which kind you want. Yeah. One more here. I know, there's all sorts of flavors.
All right, I am not on the subcommittee, so I'm gonna scoot on
Yeah,
out of
you
here. So
scooch. Elizabeth and Jeff, I can't promise that anything will be left for next month, but I'll try to get these to you.
hold it up to the camera.
Okay, everybody, thank you. Laura, thanks.
Sure, thanks
Happy
you all.
holidays.
Thank you.